Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we're gonna be looking at conditionals in Python. So without wasting any more time, let's get started. So I'm gonna store my files on my desktop in my Python lessons folder like the last time, and I'm gonna create a new file that I'm gonna call conditionals. So last time we saw variables, like what are variables, how to use them in Python. We saw the print statement. So I'm gonna just show you a little. What if you didn't watch the last video? I would advise you to go watch the last video, because you want to watch the last video before watching this, looking at this one. So last time we saw the print statement. We said we could print a name that is a string in Python. So print Larry. We can print a number, which is called in programming integer. Print a number that it prints 3. We say we could declare a variable giving it a number, or declare a variable like a giving it a string. Run this, we didn't have any problem, and we can ask Python, hey Python, what is the value of E? And hey Python, like print, what is the value of B? A. And the value of E is 1, and the value of A is Larry. So I'm gonna cut all of these ones. So today we're gonna be looking at conditionals in Python. What are conditionals? Like, let's say it's just like in English. Like in the normal world, you would say, oh, if Larry is sick, he can play basketball. So we're gonna use it in Python today. Let's say we have a variable A that has the value of 1, and a variable B that has the value of 2, and we want to print let's say, I'm gonna write it right here like before. We want to print A is less than B only if it is true. Okay, so we want to print A is less than B only if it is true. So the thing, with your old knowledge, I think the majority of y'all that saw the old video, the first video on this series, will say, oh, you can just say print A is less print. You would just say, do this. Hey Python, print A is less than B. This will work right now because A is actually less than B, and if you run it, you will see A is less than B. But what if A was 3, which is not, in this case, A is not less than B, and it will still print A is less than B? But I don't want it to work like that, so I'm gonna delete this right here and run this cell again. And now let's make this work. I want to ask Python to print A is less than B only if A is really less than B. So I'm gonna give A the value of 1 as before, and this is something new. I didn't show you this thing in the old video. So I'm gonna if condition, like if, like just like I say, if Larry is sick, he can play basketball. Like I'm gonna say if A is less than B, which is the case right here, column. You never want to forget this column, because if you forget it, Python will say there's a problem, like there's an error, a syntax error in Python. You always want to have this column when you're working with conditionals in Python, like the if condition. Always want to have the column. And there's an indentation that is very important as well in Python. The indentation right here, very important in Python. When you're working with conditionals, you always want to have your indentation. And in the majority of IDEs, like IDEs like working environments like this Jupyter Notebook, it is done automatically for you, so you don't want to so you don't have to waste time. So actually here it did it automatically for me. So I'm going to say if A is less than B, then Python print I'm gonna say then Python print A is less than B. So in this case we have A is equals to 1 and B equals 2. So this condition is supposed to be true. So now it has to print A is less than B without any problem. Let's see. So we did print A is less than B without any problem. But let's say A was 3 and B is 2, just as now, and we run this and run this. Realize that it didn't print this line right here because it came here. I said Python, if A is less than B, print A is less than B. But the thing is that A is not less than B because A is 3 and B is 2. So Python say, oh, A is not less than B, so I won't print this. So that's what we call conditionals in Python. So so this condition was false in Python, didn't print this. And in the if clause, the if clause is all of this right here. You could have multiple print statement in there, like print let's say print B is B is, let's say, greater, B is greater than A, which is not the case. And let's say B was A is 1 less before, and I would just print it right here. We would say A is less than B and B is greater than A, which is the case. And if I had to print something right here as well, like out of the condition. So actually right here we are out of the condition because there's no indentation. So even if A is less than B or A is greater than B, this print statement would always be, Python would always print this sentence right here. So let's run this cell and see. You see, out of the condition is always printed, because if the if condition is not in the if clause. So let's say, just to show you that I'm not lying, let's say A is 3, and I will run this cell and run this one. You see, this thing wasn't printed because this condition was false, but this print right here was printed because this print statement is out of the if clause. So let's say I'm gonna introduce a new condition, if I can call it like that. Let's say we still had A is equals to 3, B is equals to 2, and we want to do another if condition right here. Say if A is less than B, if A is less than B, column, indentation. We say, hey Python, if A is less than B, print a is oh a is less than, oh, I don't know how to type, a is less than b. And if it's not the case, I want to print something else. If it's not the case, I want to print something else. That is this thing right here. B is greater than A. But how do I do that in Python? I'm going to show you. There's a else condition in Python. So you say, if, hey Python, if A is less than B, print A is less than B. Else, if A, the else statement means like if A is not less than B, like else, print B. You don't want to forget your quotation marks. B is B is greater than, oh, B is greater than A. Okay, so let's see what's gonna happen. Let's run this cell. So what was printed? B is greater than A. Did I run this? Let's see. B is greater than A is correct. Actually, B right here is 2 and A is 3, so it's not possible. What did I say? I said, hey Python, if A is less than B, but A is not less than B. Yeah, but A is not less than B. So what I want to print here is supposed to be B is less than, now let's say A was 1 right here, and we run this, and run this. Okay, it prints A is less than B, which is correct because A is 1 and B is 2. A is 1 and B is 2. So yeah, I was supposed to say B is less than B is less than A. Okay, so let's say A was 3 years before, and we run this cell, and I come here and I run this cell. I say, hey Python, A is less than, if A is less than B, print A is less than B. Else, if A is not less than B, print B is less than A. And B is less than A, as we've seen here before. Do you see it? And B is less than A, so it prints B is less than A. So this is in case we just have 2 conditions to ask Python. Like if you just have 2 conditions to test, you want to use the if and else clauses. But let's say you had 3 conditions to test. Like if you wanted to see if A is less than B, or if A is equals to B, or if B is less than A. So I'm going to show you how to do this in Python. You could still use the if statement. If A is less than B, you say, hey Python, if A is less than B, I'm just gonna copy and paste. Oh, actually, I'm gonna type it. If A is less than B, print A is less than B. Okay. Else that is in the case A is not less than B. In Python you can do another if statement in the else condition and test if A is equals to B. If A is equals to B, print A is equals to B. And y'all may be asking the question, why did I use the two equal signs right here? In Python, this is to test the condition, like this will return true or false. So if you want to test equality in Python, you have to use the two equal signs, double equal signs. But this simple equal signs is just like for assignation, like to give a value to a, you just have to use a simple equal sign. But to test equality in Python, you will wanna use double equal signs. Okay. So I say, hey Python, if a is less than b, print a is less than b. Else, if a equals b, print a is equals to b. And you can do an else statement in here. Else, that is in the case a is not equals to b. You want to print b is greater than than a. So actually we have a that is equals to 3 and b that is equals to 2. Okay, so if a is less than b, we print a is less than b. If a is equals to b, we print a is equals to b. But oh yeah, if this is not the case, we could print if that's not the case, I could say a, that's supposed to be a, or a is greater than b. So let's run this cell and see what happens. So it says a is greater than b, which is correct because a is 3 and b is 2. So that's a way of doing this in Python. In the case you have several conditions to test, like equality, greater than, less than. So what I do, I'm going to explain the code right here. I'm going to type the explanation. I say, hey Python, if a is less than b, print blah blah blah. It prints this. Else, I say else print blah 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 blah. I mean, I don't print anything here. Else, Python comes in here and it tests again. I say it, when I come in here, I say again, hey Python, if a equals b, print blah blah blah. Okay, and the last statement is another else, that is else print blah blah blah. Okay, so this was a way of doing things, but there is an easier way of doing this in Python, because doing these things, the else, the if condition and an else condition, it is easy if you know what you're doing. But if you are a beginner, and most Python expert don't advise doing this, but if you are a beginner, you don't have to do this. So I'm going to show you another way to do the same problem in Python. So let's say we have a if condition, and then it's the same thing, no problem. If a is less than b, print A is less than B. But there's another statement in Python that is called elif, which stands for else if. So you say else if, oh, you have to put a condition, else if A equals B, else if A equals B, print A is equal to B. Okay, so you're telling Python, hey Python, if A is less than B, print A is less than B. Else if, which in Python is elif, A equals B, print A is equal to B. And you want to do an else statement. The else statement is in the case A is not less than B and A is not equals to B. That means A is greater than B. In this case, you want to say A, print, hey Python, print A is greater than B. Okay, so let's run this and see what happens. So in this case, A is greater than B because A is 3 and B is 2. Let's say A was 2, and we run this code and come here and run this code, and it prints A is equal to B. Okay, you could use this elif statement right here as much as you want it, as much as you want to. There won't be any problem in with your code. So let me show you what I'm talking about. Let's say I have this if A is less than B, else if if A is less than B, print A is less than B, and B, elif, okay, A is equals to B, print A is equal to B, elif, you could use it as much as you want, there wouldn't be any problem. Elif A is greater than B, print A is greater than B, and we could run this. It's gonna print A is equals to B because this condition is false. This condition is false, and Python gets to this condition, and it says that A is equals to B, and it will print A is equals to B. You just do what I have asked them to. So it's just gonna print A is equals to B, but it would never come here because this condition was already true, so it doesn't have to come here. So we just go, hey Python, if A is less than B, print A is less than B. Else if A equals to B, print A equals to B. That is the case, A is equals to B, so it will print A is equals to B. But if A was greater than B, it would have printed A is greater than B. And in this case, it is false. So let's see if A was like 4. I will run this real quick, and I will come back here and run this. It would have print. It would have, as you see, it printed A is greater than B. So I guess all of you have realized that I didn't use the else statement. That is complete. That is correct in Python. You don't necessarily have to use the else statement when you are testing conditions. You don't necessarily have to use it. Let's say like here I just have my else if condition. I don't need the else condition, but you can put it, but you don't need it. So what will I show you again? I'm gonna show the same thing but with the else condition at the end. Let's say we had the same thing. I'm just gonna copy and paste this one right here. I had this condition in the else condition. Yeah, I'm just gonna say else print. I'm not sure. Actually, I'm gonna say print none of the conditions before was true. So what Python is gonna do, what Python is gonna do, he's gonna go to the first if condition. He's gonna test is A less than B, and if it is not the case, he's gonna test if is B is A equals to B. If it's not the case, it's gonna test is A greater than B. If it's not the case, it's gonna come to the else condition and it's gonna print none of the condition before was true. So I'm gonna try A is 10 and B is equals to 10 and equals 10 and A equals 4. So I'm gonna try to run this one real quick. In this case, it says A is less than B because A is less than B. So all of this, it's gonna print this, and all of these conditions will not be, all of these print statements will not be executed. So let's say, how would I get in here? Let's say I'm just gonna say like this. I'm just gonna change this one right here. Okay, it is pretty much the same thing as this one. So I can take this, I can remove this one and just leave this ones right here, and I'm gonna run it again. And you see what it does, it goes in the first condition to say if A is greater than B. What I have to print here is, I'm supposed to say A is greater than B. Okay, else if A is equals to B, print A is equals to B. Else none of this condition before were true. So if none of this condition before were true, I'm just gonna print none of this condition before were true. So I guess this is that is all I'm gonna show you in this video. It was pretty long and if you have any question, don't forget to leave it in the comment section below, because I was speaking a lot and I think I didn't make a lot of sense. And if you have any question, it will be a pleasure for me to explain it more in details and in depth. So don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and click the bell button so when I upload you get notified. So if you have any condition, any problem, any question, you want to leave it in the comment section below. And as I said at the beginning of the video, I'm gonna put the link to the the first video so you can look it. So you want to look this video, you want to relook this video when you're on your free time and just try to redo the exercises we've done in this video, so you can get used to the Python, you can get used to Python and just keep working and get better at programming. So like, share, subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.